sister. I'm an iron sister.
I'm an iron sister.
These people in this community have changed my life.
Being young is a trivial game. You get older, but you stay the same. You look good when you're shaking my way. But let me figure something awful to say. Yeah. Everything is the way it is. Got to be the way it is.
Hi, I'm Frances Manius, and I'm an iron sister. At the age of 20, I knew little about the world of strength training, nutrition, and the sport of bodybuilding. After all, I was a basketball player, just looking to get stronger for my sport. When I decided to compete in what I thought would be my first and only bodybuilding competition, I had to wholeheartedly rely on the coaches around me to prepare me for the stage. Fast forward 15 years and 21 competitions later, I had last competed for Canada on the world stage in 2008, armed with an abundance of knowledge and experience compared to my humble beginnings. I achieved success as a 5-time Canadian National Bodybuilding Federation champion and 7-time International Federation of Bodybuilding World Championships competitor. But despite these successes and thousands of hours of training, coaching, and perfecting my craft, I was very much aware that although I'd come so far, I still had so much to learn. And then something unexpected happened. I fell out of love with training. My decision to take a break from physique competition led to a lack of motivation and almost a disdain of training. As a result, my body and mind took a beating. I gained over 10 pounds of body fat above my off-season body weight. I was sluggish and uninspired in my work. Coaching others in the physique, health, and nutrition industry left me less of a role model for my clients. I struggled with the physical and mental consequences for nearly 2 years. That's when I took a critical step to join a women's recreational basketball league in my city, craving to play the sport of my youth that had fallen by the wayside during my competitive bodybuilding years. To be back on the court brought both calmness and vigor that my body and mind needed. Basketball was fun. At the same time, I decided to compete in a local powerlifting contest, fulfilling a goal I had set more than a decade before. Suddenly, upon joining a team of experienced powerlifters, my passion for training renewed. I was eager to experience new skills and excited to test my strength. I met some incredible women and gained supportive training partners along the way. Thankfully, training was fun again too. The common characteristic of my return to basketball and my foray into the world of powerlifting has been community. By surrounding myself with like-minded people, my basketball and powerlifting teammates, I was given this gift of community. This gift I have come to realize is precious, and it should be shared and celebrated. This is why I created Iron Sisters. Iron Sisters are the strong women surrounding us. They are like-minded and passionate about the iron. Iron Sisters are the women who are picking up their first barbell today and those that have been lifting for years. Iron Sisters Strength Camp is designed to bring together these like-minded women to be coached and inspired by some of the best in their respective fields. From biomechanics to mindset coaching, from the physiology to the psychology of strength, power, and physique, Iron Sisters Strength Camp is for any woman who's seeking to gain confidence and motivation, knowledge and insight into how she can get better. Whether you're a veteran of the iron game or you're picking up that barbell for the first time, Iron Sisters Strength Camp is for you. I look forward to sharing and celebrating sisterhood with you. Join us at ironsisters.ca. I want to formally welcome you to our inaugural Iron Sisters Strength Camp. This has been about a year and a bit in the making. And I say a year and a bit because it was around that time that we started in this space, not necessarily in this tent space, but in the space that you see behind you, training a little bit more intensely, and with a different purpose than perhaps some of us have been training in the past. And that was thanks to a bunch of women who had come together and really created that opportunity. And so that got us thinking, because that's what a lot of women do when they get together. They start to think, and then not only do they think, but they start to act. Especially those women in my life Linda McFeeters being one of them, and Joanna Reber being another, and Aaron, of course, is part of that, and Kendra. And we created, essentially, Dundas Valley Power, which became Dundas's and Hamilton's truly only powerlifting team. And since that time, we've not only had the opportunity to compete in a number of competitions locally, we've been to provincials together, we've gone to nationals, and just recently 2 of our gals, Linda and Jo, came back from the NAPF North Americans with gold medals to boot. So that's been the journey. That's a short journey, but truly incredible experiences that we've had to date, and that's what we want to continue to have and to contribute to our community. And so you're becoming a part of this community now as it's growing, and we're excited about that. So who are the Iron Sisters, or what are Iron Sisters? Each of you represents a part of what Iron Sisters is all about. It's nothing that I think that I can define. It's just something that has really come out of years of being involved and being a part of the community. And so we obviously share a passion. We share a passion for lifting bars with weights or heavy things sometimes, moving our bodies in ways maybe that we never thought that we would be able to move them. And we've all come here really with different paths and different journeys and different intentions with where it is that we want to go as well, and that's awesome. So that gets me excited, and I'm just excited to be in your presence and to continue to define what Iron Sisters is. And so today our intention is twofold. One is to just share in that passion to celebrate all of this. So we're strong, right? I want you to turn to the person, just turn to the person next to you and say, you are strong. You are strong. Now turn to the other person and actually say it like you mean it. You're strong. You're strong. Thank you. And now turn to the other person who you started to talk to, and I want you to tell them that you're going to get stronger today. You're going to get stronger today. Go ahead and tell them that. You're going to get stronger. All right, we're going to work on this. Over the course of the day, you're going to have the opportunity to build into one another the encouragement that perhaps you feel in your own community where you live. Maybe you don't get to feel that, but so that's what we want you to experience. We want you to experience that community and other people around you, other women in this instance, telling you that you can get stronger, if you so choose. And I believe that that's why you're here, because you do want to gain not only the physical strength to be able to do some of the things that some of the people around you have done, right? If you're looking at them going, wow, there's some really strong people here, I'm not sure if I fit in that company. But you too can, if you so choose, put yourself in that company just because you're choosing to be stronger. So we're going to celebrate that today. And the second thing, and very important thing, they're both equally important, is we're going to learn. We have some incredible coaches here. We've got some incredible, we're going to learn from each other, but specifically from the coaches that we've hand-selected to be here. I'm incredibly honored that they've agreed to come, some from different parts of Canada, the US, Ontario. It's so great to see just the enthusiasm that these people are going to bring to us, their experiences, and they're willing to share and build into you. So I want you to think about one thing today as you're going through these experiences and you're putting yourself into the training that we're going to have for you today. Think about, what is it to be coachable? What is it? What is that characteristic? What is that quality? What are the qualities that come out of that? What does being coachable mean? How can you better learn by allowing yourself and being open to what a coach is sharing with you? I don't have those answers. You've got to look deep inside of yourself and be open to allowing someone to point out your weaknesses, allowing someone to comment your strength, and commend your strengths, and then allowing yourself to work on those weaknesses. So setting ego aside, right, and moving forward, and that's how we will then gain strength. So with those two things, celebrating our passions and being ready and eager to learn, we will get stronger, and we're going to get stronger in just one day. And with that, I want to introduce to you our coaches. So let me just take a minute to share a little bit about who is in the room with us, who's going to be talking to us, sharing with us, and I want you to take advantage of these people because they're here for you, they're here for us. So first off, I want to introduce someone who's certainly an integral part of my my development in the sport and in just moving and in life. He's got some pretty awesome skills. So, and I should say this, because I'm introducing both men and women today. So even though this is an Iron Sisters event, we recognize that we can't do this without our Iron Brothers. So we need them. So it's about, again, bringing us both together so that we're able to be better. So the man with the magic hands is Dr. Otis Veteris. Otis, come up here so we can actually see you. Stand here so you can feel awkward. So he's got all his graduate stuff from U of T and NYCC. He's been in practice for over 18 years. He's treated over 6,000 patients. So he's got a very unique approach, and I'm not going to share his approach, but needless to say, it allows you to just get stronger. So he's got a very good ability at seeing you move in whatever it is that you're doing, and if there's failure or weakness there, he's able to determine that and then give you some kind of a treatment basically and say, here, go try that again, and the next thing you know, you're able to do it. So that's an invaluable thing, as you all know, whether when you're in your training or you're in your competition, and we have hands-on access to him for that, and without him, us here in Dundas and in Hamilton and many of you in the surrounding area have come to see him in practice. So you're going to share in a doing kind of a way today, right?
I'm just going to be just walking around, watching people do the lifts, and if there's, focus is going to be obviously on technique and learning more advanced techniques today, but if something doesn't work, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter how hard you try, as soon as the load starts going into something that's failing, so then I will be able to quickly see that and then also instruct the person, okay, this is what's failing, and even give you a hand, whether give you something right now to get you through the day, but then also when you get home, to find someone, so this is, you can tell them this is what's failing, this is what we need to do to bring this back, or else, then if you try using structures that can't work, that's when they fail, that's when they tear. And then
I started sending you guys some of the presentations so you can see it. What I'm going to do is that I'm also going to bring it up on the laptop, but I want to be able to
certain structures very specifically, advanced technique.
So I sent it to the people I know, I sent it to
no,
you, I sent it
no
to
faking
patients,
around it.
Sent it
You
to Kat,
have
I
to be able to
sent
do
it
it
to
correctly.
so we
If
could
there's
just
something
have
nearby that
everyone else,
can't,
if they have
that's where I'll help.
So
That
take
way they
advantage
can
of him.
follow
If you're
along.
doing something and
I'll
something
just put
doesn't
it up
feel
there.
right, go to him. Say, nah, I feel this, I feel that. What do you think it is? And he'll test you and do some hands-on work. So we're looking forward to that. Thanks, Otis. All right. So all the way from Ottawa, we've got fabulous experience and really a team, a great partnership that you're gonna hear from them a little later on this morning. First off, let me introduce Paul Valancourt. Paul, 3-time Ontario Strongman. You've been coaching for 20 years or so, maybe? 10 years, okay. Wow, he looks good, for 20 years. And they'll share a little bit more about their practice, Ultimate Fitness gyms in
Ottawa
area. But they primarily have a powerlifting practice with mostly women, right?
Yeah,
which is
90%
90% women, which is pretty awesome. So they're going to bring their experiences and share a little bit more about how they're able to maximize the abilities of those women, and they've had some great successes there. But let me tell you a little bit more about Sarah. Sorry, Paul, but I've got her full bio here, and I won't take up too much time. But Sarah competed in her first powerlifting competition in 2008. She was 2011 Canadian Women's Champion. She had a winning total of 485 kilos. That was pretty impressive for her, and I know she's done even better than that since. She's ranked 5th in Canada all time, been to 2 World Championships, 2011, 2012, and was the best lifter at just this last Commonwealth Games in December 2013. And so we're really glad that Sarah Layton is here. You're going to hear from her and her experiences. And Paul and Sarah are going to take a pretty unique approach to how they're going to talk about Sarah's experiences. Sarah's going to share about some of the things that she's experienced, and they'll kind of bring it back to sort of best practices and stuff that they've realized as a result of all of her experience over the last six plus years. We've got, where is Mark sitting there in the back, kind of hiding his face? Mark Giffen. Yeah. So the very humble Mark, who came to Dundas Valley Power as a result of a bunch of our connections and Otis, kind of Joe, and he just was gravitating over here. Mark has been involved in powerlifting for about 30 years, and without his valuable experience and willingness to share certainly us as athletes here wouldn't have experienced what we have to date, and many in previous years on teams that he has coached and competed with have done exceptionally well. And Mark continues himself to not just coach, but also compete as an athlete. And I think he's actually getting better with age. So there's something to be said about that. You look good. No, but he's also strong. He's exceptionally strong and getting stronger all the time. And that's something I think that we as women and a large group of diversity in terms of our ages as well, as we get older and as we continue on in the sport, we will be stronger. And that's great for some of us who have just started in this sport and are looking at our 40s, 50s, and 60s and beyond. So we're glad that he's here today. Take advantage of him. There are a few other people in the back that are going to be helping out. Kendra, you've met at the registration table. We want to thank her. Yara, who's we like to say our token guy on our team. Yes, Junior competing in August in his first contest, so he's here to help us out as well. Before I introduce our celebrity guest and presenter, the gal most of you came to experience today, let me just give you a few bits of it's formal stuff on the informal kind of structure of the day. It is formal in the sense that we have an agenda. We're going to try to stay as tight to our time frame as we can, but we're going to be prompt. We know that over the course of the day, you know already that you're going to be squatting, you're going to be bench pressing, you're going to be deadlifting, okay? And you're going to get instruction in all those areas. And so feel free to squat, bench, and deadlift appropriately according to your own training. So don't feel that you have to, lift heavy today. Don't feel like you have to PR today. If it happens, it happens, okay? But you will have that opportunity to get that training in and train accordingly. So some housekeeping stuff. There are 2 bathrooms here. We've got one in the back of this room and one at the top of the stairs. You take the stairs toward the other bathroom, and up at the top of the stairs is another bathroom, so you can use that today. Be sure to ask questions, okay? So take the time. So whether it's during the training times, talk to the coaches, ask those questions, don't be shy, okay? And with that, if I've forgotten anything, we'll just come back to it later on. I want to introduce our highlight of our day today, who's going to be facilitating the day for the most part. I got 6 pages of a resume, powerlifting resume here, but I think she truly just doesn't really need an introduction because we know she's accomplished some incredible things in the sport, and she's an advocate for the sport as well, which is great. She judges international judge at Kimberly?
National. Working
on that, national level judge. 5 world championships, multiple records in both the 63 kilo and 72 kilo classes, classic and equipped. Numbers like, for example, a just shy of 400 pound squat that she got at USAPL Nationals last week. Best deadlift just shy of 550.
556.
556, thank you. Yes, and she's going for some pretty cool numbers coming up too. But I wanted her to share a little bit more about herself, so I'm going to just pass the floor over, and maybe we'll just give everybody a warm welcome and round of applause and kick off Iron Sisters. Ready?
Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys the ins and outs of squat, bench, and deadlift, not just specifically for people who are going to compete in powerlifting meets, but just so you could also get a better understanding of the proper form, the techniques, and various aspects of how to lift, so also to prevent injury as well. The intention, of course, is for you to increase your knowledge of all 3 lifts, as well as expose you to some of the accessory work as well. And I'm going to be here also to help critique your lifts to hopefully make them more technically sound as well. So what I have started to do is I passed out to some of my friends because I do have a small presentation. Don't worry, it will not be death by slides. It's just a few things for you to go along with. So my friends who do have the links, if you could just pass along to some of the ladies. I'm also going to have it up here on the laptop, but I feel that way at least you can go along. It's a hyperlink if you have your phones with you. If not, don't worry, I'll have the laptop up here. So I'm going to bring this up so we can use it. How many of you, this is your first time actually, have never ever squat, bench, deadlift, anything? Okay, it's all right. How many of you have competed? Okay, so the rest of you have never. How many of you are interested in competing? Okay, probably not. All right. Okay, so what I'll start with today is I'm going to talk to you about the squat. Now, the first thing that's most important about you learning how to squat is that you have to have the proper equipment. And I mean like especially having your shoes. For us, when we as powerlifters use our squat shoes, we use two styles. It's an ollie shoe, normally with a heel, some of you may be familiar with, or it's a flat shoe, meaning completely flat on the surface of the sneaker. And the reason why we do this is because when you're squatting, you need to be able to push against the sides of the shoe and use it as leverage when you're squatting. And believe me, it'll make a difference when you're coming out of the hole, as we say. The hole meaning that after you've broke parallel and you're rising up, that's what we consider the hole, this area. You're basically trying to fight out of this area. So utilizing the proper shoes will make it a lot easier for you to actually accomplish this goal. Now, I'm not trying to point anyone out, so I'm just going to say some of you guys have shoes that specifically, like, they're very soft, so they don't allow you that opportunity. And basically, it could actually be a negative for you when you're trying to squat. It will make the squat more difficult. It may make you slide your feet, which will cause you to lose a lift in some federations. And some of them also could cause additional issues. So if you were able to bring them, that's fine. See, that would be a perfect one. This is a flat shoe. This is one of the ones I'm talking about. Because you want to be able to have the opportunity to grip. If there's a little bit of leverage in the shoe, like for instance, if you're in a competition and they see that, they may mistake the shoe as not being flat, and they'll call you on it, meaning if you're not familiar, it's called a red light, or a red card, which means you did something wrong. So they'll say something like, okay, well, we couldn't tell her shoe was completely down, so we're gonna mark her off for that one. Versus if you have a flat shoe, or this one is this is the ollie shoe. That's the shoe I was talking about. The great thing about using one of these is the heel, it actually decreases the angle of the ankle. So it makes it a little easier for you to get into proper form when you bench, and definitely also for when you squat. It makes it easier for you to hit the hole. Have many of you had any experience like competing with, I know you have, gear? Or equipped, I'm sorry. In America, we say gear. I know apparently gear means something else here. So equipped. I meant to say equipped. I'm a drug-free lifter, I promise. So now we're going to move on to the actual uniform. With equipped, I don't know for you who have the link, so I'll just bring it up here. Hopefully you'll be able to see it in here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, if we go to the first slide, it is the second one. It said equipped, equipped squat, if you can see it. All right, I'll bring it around. You guys don't mind getting a little closer, do you? Come a little closer because I want you to actually see this, what I'm talking about.
We have our stuff.
Okay.
If you want the show and tell.
Oh, you do have it?
Yeah.
You have the link? I wasn't sure.
No, I mean, yeah.
Okay, well, for the ones who don't. This is Anna Castling, for some of you who are not familiar with. She is the strongest pound for pound equipped lifter. She's from Brazil. And one of the things I was trying to explain to you guys about, you see here, she's wearing knee wraps. In our international federation, 2 meters is the most we can go. And it's usually, and then she's wearing ollie shoes, and that's a single ply suit. Oh, ollie, when I say ollie, I mean Olympic. We call them squat shoes. Olympic shoes, squat shoes. And please, if I'm using any acronyms that you're not familiar with, please tell me, because I'm just so used to using them.
When they start to use ollie shoes to squat always, or I think it's brand new, that like 4 years or something. First, when you start to use ollie shoes too to squat? Or?
When I started, I have to be honest and say that they just matched my outfit, so I wore them. I didn't really know the difference until I actually got a flat shoe pair, and I was like, oh, okay, now I see the difference, because I was all about, okay, how do I look on the platform? So now I know that there was a difference. Okay, now the reason why, does anyone have, I'll let you finish. This is a clearer picture.
Yeah, that's nice.
So you see she's done her setup. She takes a breath. Just to let you know, and excuse me if I don't convert properly, I told you she squatted 556 pounds with equipment. I just competed against her at Raw Worlds, and her raw squat, she squatted 408 pounds. So, yes, so that gives you an indication that this woman gets a lot out of her equipment. It's an indication of what's possible if you learn how to properly use equipment, how much you can get out of it. She, I think, by far, is a clear example of learning how to use your equipment properly and getting the most out of it. Because it was almost like an experiment competing against her, because we had never had a competition before where you had an equipped lifter competing against a raw lifter and had a better idea exactly of how strong she truly was. So after her competing at Raw Worlds against me, we now knew, okay, wow, so this woman can get roughly 150 pounds out of using single ply equipment. Now, I am an advocate, yes, single ply. IPF only uses single ply. Now, the reason why I like showing her, simply also because she's the best at what she does, but also it gives you an idea of exactly what it takes for you to actually lift in this type of equipment. Now, the great thing about this is because I also compete raw and equipped. Oh, you can sit now. I'm sorry, ladies. If you ever want to compete in equipment, I think it's extremely important for you to have a great, strong, raw base. When I compete in gear, I have a cycle, and for me, a cycle of at least, I say a minimum of 8 weeks, just lifting raw, because you have to have that strong base for you to even get into equipment. And the other thing is that when you start using equipment, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I know you are, you need to make sure that you get a really good coach. Not someone who tells you that they know what they're talking about. You'll clearly see. And the other thing is that besides you talking to that coach, because I have to say the coach, because some people aren't actually coaches and know the background related to using equipment, is you'll start talking to your friends who use equipment. And you'll ask them, well, my coach had me do this. Or it felt kind of funny. Is it supposed to feel like this? Those are the people you should turn to and get their advice, because it'll clearly tell you if something is wrong. Now, when you're using this equipment, I must tell you, if you do decide, this is only for the people who do, it will be a little difficult at first. It looks easy, but trust me, it took her a while to get used to that. Simply even using the knee wraps that you saw, you can get roughly, and this is just a generic pair of knee wraps, you can get 60, 70 pounds out of a generic knee wrap. That's just knee wraps. If you get really good ones, I've heard people say they could get upwards of 150. I've never got 150. But 150 pounds out of using knee wraps. Now, as a raw lifter, why would you care about that? I think it also saves your knees. I train with knee wraps as well when I squat. It allows you to lift heavier weight without putting as much tension and pressure on your knees. It teaches you to actually become more comfortable in the hole, as we say, the hole when you're down here and you're fighting to get out. So if you don't have a pair and you know someone who does, or you're interested, I would suggest getting one, because even if it's just lifting once a week, trust me, it makes a difference. Oh, I thought you raised your hand, but it was only coffee. That's okay. Now, with regards to the single ply suit that she's using, the single ply suit, like I said, is amazing. The woman gets 150 pounds out of that. So you may have, yes. But the thing is that that's after you learn how to use it. You're not going to put this on and be Superwoman. It's literally, it's going to take you a while, because trust me, you feel like it creates a lot of tension on the chest and the thighs, but the intention is as you go deeper, it's almost like it's stored kinetic energy. So as you get deeper and you're fighting the suit, once you hit the hole, it'll literally help you spring back up in combination with the knee wraps, in combination with you having the proper shoes, using the wrist wraps which will give you more stability on your wrists. I know there are some people who don't use them because they don't feel comfortable, but for me, I tell you that they definitely work, even if it's a tad bit psychological. But I believe in this sport, there is some psychological aspects. So, hey, if it feels like it's doing something, then go with it, even if you can't prove it. That's just how I think some powerlifters are. So, now, on the other side of that is, of course, raw lifting. Can you, Linda, can you help me get this one, please? The other one? I just want to advance it to the next slide. All right, that'll be raw.
This is what I got on my slide.
Yeah, skip to the next one. Yeah, bam.
Video play?
Yes, please. If you didn't know this, Jessica. This is Jessica at Worlds with me last year in Russia.
Surprise.
This is a raw squat.
I was fun for this one.
Just when she finishes this part, right on that.
Oh, now?
Yeah, when she comes up. All right, get her now. Now, one thing you may not notice about from the video is that when you do a raw squat, the mechanics can be different. You're not going to squat the same using equipment. You're just not. And the difference is as well is that you're not using a single ply suit. You're just using a singlet, whatever your fashion sense feels like that day. I prefer to match myself. Just saying. I like knee sleeves. There are various types of knee sleeves. Even though I am sponsored, I'm gonna tell you all of them. The top 3 that I think, only because I've used them all. I've used Ray-Bans, the blue and white ones. I've used Titan. I was sponsored by Titan as well. They come a variety of colors. And I use SBD, which just recently came out, SBD squat bench deadlift, the red and black ones. And what I love about using the knee sleeves, at the minimum, they warm up your knees. So they make things feel a little easier. Do you feel a little tension when you use the knee sleeves? Yes, tension in the sense that it's a comfort. No, you're not getting 50, 60, 70 pounds out of using knee sleeves. They're neoprene sleeves. They're not, they're not knee wraps. They're knee sleeves. Even though you see people talk about it online, no, you're not. It's just wrapping the knees, that's all. Just a little comfort. And the same thing goes with the shoes as well, whether an ollie shoe or flat shoe. Now, if you haven't squatted in either one of those types of shoes, my suggestion is that you try both, because you won't know until you try it whether what's going to really work for you. Like your coach may be able to see it when you squat and say that I probably want to give you an opportunity to use an ollie shoe because it looks like you're having a problem, hitting depth, meaning like you can't open up your hips enough for you to hit the bottom. Because there are some people, because of flexibility issues as well, they can't do it. So sometimes they may suggest using a different shoe. And, ma'am? Oh, no, okay. Question? It's fine.
No, I was just saying that I use them on the shoes. I'm thinking maybe I might try flat shoes.
I mean, because you never know.
Yeah. So it's just that, something to try. Just
and you don't have to get an expensive shoe either. You could start with something that's inexpensive, and then when you're sure whether it's an ollie shoe or a flat shoe that works for you, then you can go and get a more expensive shoe. But there's no need for you to go out and spend $150, $200 on a shoe, and it may not necessarily work for you. So now I want to open this time up just to ask, are there any questions before I move along? Trust me, I'm almost done, and then we're going to get into the fun stuff. Okay. Does anyone have any?
Do you recommend wearing the knee sleeves?
Heck yeah.
I've never worn them, so.
Yes, I recommend them, like I said, simply for the fact that they keep your knees warm, and it's anything that's going to help you feel a little bit more comfortable when you're squatting, why not? Anything's going to help you extend the life of your squatting, why not?
So which ones do you prefer then? Because you mentioned the 3, but which ones do you prefer?
Not because I'm sponsored by them. Off the record, there is no off the record. I'm being filmed and I have a mic. I will say that I'm sponsored by SBD. I love the SBD knee sleeves. They just recently, actually, in the video we showed you, that was the first year we saw them when we were at the World Championships in Russia. And we saw the Russians and the UK team with them, when everyone was like, what are these things? Are they legal? Like, we can wear them? And they're actually longer than the Titan, but Titan just came out with a similar pair, so I have no way to compare those. The Ray-Bans are definitely smaller, but I love the shoes. I do feel like I'm getting something out of them, but like I said, I feel like in some aspects of powerlifting, it is psychological. So if I am, then fine. If it's the sleeves, then it's the sleeves. But I can tell you that the majority of the elite lifters and a lot of the champions, and I'm all about trust but verify. If you Google, look online and see how many people are wearing SBD knee sleeves. And that'll clear, and that's for even the equipped lifters who use them in their bench. So,
Really?
yeah. Well, for us, I don't know if it's either a matter of, well, you just don't feel like taking them off while you're competing, or you just like how they feel when you're benching. I mean, you don't really get a benefit from them because you're benching, but I just don't take them off. So that's why they're on throughout the whole day I'm competing.
So they're approved in Ontario for the Powerlifting
Yes.
Association?
Yes,
SBD?
because they're IPF.
Because
They're under the IPF umbrella.
Okay.
So we all are. Like my national federation is USAPL, which is under NAPF, which is under IPF. So yes, they're approved. And if you ever,
$100 or something?
Yeah.
they're $90. There's two ways for you to get them. There's only one U.S. distributor, and obviously, unless you get them directly from UK, you'd have to see which is cheaper.
We have Inner Strength.
Yeah.
Okay,
in
sorry, didn't know.
Saskatchewan.
Okay, so inner strength as well.
Canadian company
Yeah.
by Ray.
Okay, well then.
Yeah. But I actually, the reason I know is I just ordered a pair.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, okay, I'm going to listen for once. I don't listen often. But it said, do not, get a smaller size, like be true to the
Yes,
size.
they really
so
are.
I did, but I slid them on. And it's like, oh.
Really? Then they're too loose. Literally, the first time I got my first pair, it took about 6 of us to put them on. It was actually hilarious. We should have actually filmed it. Because what we did is we set up this system where I was sitting on like a bench, and then I had one of my buddies putting them on, and then we had one person on each leg behind him because they were trying to put them on for me just in case somebody fell back and we didn't want them to hurt themselves. But after a few weeks, I got down to being able to do it on myself. And then I actually ended up talking to my sponsor while Benjamin Banks, he owns SPD out of the UK. And I actually found some videos and it showed me how to get them on by myself. Because that's the other thing, in competition, you have to get them on by yourself. There were potential issues in the past where they saw people needing assistance and they're like, well, if you can't put them on by yourself, how can we let you come on the platform and use them? So that was pretty much it. Any more questions? Anything? Nope. All right, well, let's do this. I'm ready. Heck yeah.
Well, there's a really great women's lifting community online. And so over social media, lots of Facebook posts and things like that, I found out about this event that was being held this weekend. I just think that having the collection of all the experience and knowledge from various lifters who've continued on just really exciting journeys of their own by competing on international stages, I think it's really great to have them in one room just mentoring us who are newer lifters to help us improve our weaknesses. One of the biggest lessons that I took from this morning's session especially is setting a higher standard for myself to not be average, because people who are average don't achieve above and beyond the rest. So that's just something that's challenged me to just pick at the little things in my life that I think are, lowering the bar for me. So I'm just learning how to challenge myself to break away from the pack of people who are average in their training. I didn't know that I had such a big ego until after I started lifting heavy weights. I think I've become the most overconfident person ever. I'm very introverted and I'm very quiet and I'm not the most talkative person. But when you start participating in something that's constantly challenging you and forcing you to be aggressive and to be always achieving and progressing, you can't be that reserved, timid type of person, or else the weight will just crush you. To think of an event like this as an investment on the way they perform and achieve for the future, because there are a whole bunch of people here today who have so much experience and knowledge, and they've learned the hard lessons that we have yet to learn, or could learn, and we can actually avoid, learning the harder lessons by just being mentored by people with more experience.